All right. School is officially out. School. I've done my daddy daycare duties. I got one care duty. However, I had to come fail, which means not for long. So we want to be in, we want to be out. We don't want to. I don't want to get on a soapbox this time. I'm gonna try my best. All right, so my name is Coach Malik Hall. This is Catch Up with Coach Sports Talk. Real quick, shout out to my man Cam Countryman. Um, he's gonna have me on later on tonight on IG. This is my first time going live on IG. For Conquer You. Um, Cam played receiver at Penn, was an all conference receiver, return man. Um, yeah, man, I'm excited to be on with them and see how I can forward the message that they have in conquering self. Um, so shout out to Cam, man. I can't wait, man. Can't wait to be a part of what you're doing. All right, so we're gonna jump into the NFL. I'm not gonna talk about the Lions because the Lions ain't worth talking about. And we're at the halfway point. It's trade week, and there's no reason to talk about people who not in the hunt unless they're making a trade that's gonna immediately change and immediately change the ball club. And it's only been a few of those trades that's really ever taken place in the past. And the only one that really jumps to mind that was a big time, like colossal trade was Randy Moss to the Pats. So, being that we really no real trades are happening, I do want to speak to tonight's game. Tom Brady, the old man Brady. You know they busting his chops in the locker room. Hey, old man, grandpa. Whether they busting his chops or not, listen, the man 45, 46, trying to play till he 48, 49. I don't know what he doing, but he'll have his hands full with Lamar Action Jackson. He'll have his hands full with that man. And shout out to Lamar Jackson. And by the way, look, man, like I don't know why the Ravens didn't get the contract done, but they didn't get it done. And the fact they didn't get it done, whatever he does this year, is good, bad, or indifferent. They are either gonna pay for it. They are gonna have to pay for not getting that done, whether it be with the fan base, whether it be because another team just, no pun intended, trumps them and just bring the bag. Um, or, and unfortunately, which makes this even more interesting for Lamar, and I'm gonna knock on wood, injury. I've said it before, players don't go into games thinking about injuries. And if they do, they're not a good player. And most players who think about injury, you got to shelve them for a minute, sometimes a year, because they're not going to respond with the twitch fibers that God gave them in a sudden reaction in an instance like you need them to, because they're trigger shy because of an injury. And so that brings me to the conversation of the Dolphins. Yes, yeah, the mighty, mighty Dolphins. The Dolphins, man, amazing what 1 week in the NFL can do. Any given Sunday, that movie, if you haven't seen it, go see it because it's dope. But any given Sunday, you can be up, and the next minute you can be down. And the only reason, look, I'm gonna tell you, and they're playing the Lions. So that's the only reason we're talking about the Lions. I said we ain't gonna talk about the Lions, but we're talking about the Dolphins, not the Lions. The Dolphins should beat the Lions. Okay. The Dolphins should not play Tua. I don't know if they declared him a starter or not, but they should not play Tua. Shelve him for another week. It does, because at this point, you got a team that you can beat without Tua. That you should be able to beat the Lions without Tua. Play some good defense, run the ball. You should be fine. That's how I feel about the Dolphins. That's why I spoke to injury. And with Tua being the type of quarterback he is, it does not behoove the Dolphins to throw him to a wounded lion such as Detroit. It's just, I don't know, man. But again, I've stated it time and time and time again. They are not giving coaches enough time to socially, emotionally pour into these young men and players, and more importantly, to build a solid team that doesn't sway or follow. Most teams are built on a house of cards right now. That's most teams, because they're not giving their quarterbacks enough seasoning before they require them to win a grueling NFL season. And if you have any success early, they're like, okay, now let's double down, give them the whole playbook. No, bro, no, 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 no. Not to mention the inconsistency of a coaching staff. No, 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 no. Do not give this man the whole playbook and you a new coach. And he had a good year last year. The terminology, whether it's the same or not, he has to get used to trusting you as his new coach, you as his new play call, or whatever it be. Like, I don't think people understand how vital trust is in the game of football. Everyone it had, like, when Bill Belichick says do your job, everyone legitimately has to do their job and not even like have to trust almost blindly that the guy next to me or the guy behind me is going to do his job, so I don't have to worry about him. You worrying about just your job should be a full enough plate. Period. Period. So I'll only say that to say, do not play Tua. Leave Tua out of this game. The Detroit Lions, even if the Detroit Lions put it together and they beat the Dolphins, it is not going to be a significant win for their playoff hunt, which will probably be a wild card in truth. So do something, do something that's not best for the squad short term, and do what's best for the player short term. Because short term, to us staying out of this game this week is better long term for the program and the franchise, and better long term for Tua in the program and the franchise. You play Tua and he gets hurt, we will not. Tua, and all due respect to Robert Griffin, this will be the last time that we even hear about Tua if something bad happens. And I hate the word if, because if it was a fifth, we would all be toasting. All right. So, yeah, that's how I feel. I think the Miami Dolphins should easily take down the Detroit Lions. All right. Arizona, the Cardinals. My man, Kyler Murray. I would, on the hoof, tell you they should beat Minnesota, but they got so much frustration right now in Arizona. Um, that will do one or two things that will either glue them together. Because I know the misconception is the frustration means it's going to end, but sometimes you need emotional outbursts to um, to glue it back together. No coach knew that better than the head coach at Wagner College at the time that I was a defensive coordinator. He would do things intentionally to see who's emotionally wired for the game and who's emotionally ready to fight, because that's what kind of game this is going to be. And though for him, it was calculated and deliberate and intentional, for people on the other end, they were just responding. And after it was done and after you had your emotional outburst, he would go on about the rest of the practice or the rest of the game. And sure enough, that will be the emotional burst and swing that most times our team needed to not find themselves, woe is me. Oh, it's just not working out. And so, yeah. And because of that, I'm going the Cardinals. All right. Now, we're not going to talk about every NFL team. I'm just talking about the ones that interest me and the things that popped in the headlines and that I thought to give you some insight on based on my 22 years of coaching. And so the next two teams, I try to only cover four teams, 4 quarters. Every now and again, I get on my soapbox and I lose it, but we'll stick to the script. All right, the next two teams I'm going to talk about, or as the next team, I've always been vocal about my time in New York, and my time in New York was the good, bad, and ugly. When they say you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. It's because that city comes at you hard and fast. Woo. And so, the New York Jets will be hosting the New England Patriots, which I only expect the New York Jets to handle the Patriots. Not because the Patriots are lack of talent, but this game, much like last week's game versus the Patriots, doesn't fare well to the matchup, partly because the Jets are going to blanket cover New England and play a lot of press bail man. And when they get in a too high, cover two in the NFL is basically man two, which presents even smaller windows. And so and the Jets want to run the ball. And so being that Bill Belichick, for the most part, I think this year has been playing the game not to win because he doesn't have the bullets per se to win, to play the game to win. I know that may sound counterintuitive to uh, any of my competitors out there, but playing a game not to lose is to suggest I'm going to let the team screw this up. All we got to do, they got too many personality and emotional issues as they run their offense, and it pours out in their mistakes. So let's let them just move the ball down the field until someone gets emotionally frustrated and makes a mistake that we can capitalize on. That's chess, not checkers. And he's been in every game -1. And I expect him to be in this game, but I do not expect the New York Jets, Jets, Jets. I do not expect the Jets to be play mistakers here against the New England Patriots. I expect the Jets to full throttle this thing and get themselves ready for a conference hunt and a conference chase. Although it will not be easy, because though I know Bill Belichick right now is getting beat up because of this 2 quarterback system, but if you have ever game plan, you do not want to prepare for 2 quarterbacks, because the nuances of what you're trying to game plan and capitalize on, the margin of error in the tips sometimes may be one guy pass the ball and then lets it go. One guy may pat the ball twice and let it go. Like those are tips and clues to how to get an edge. And every quarterback has, as you say, their tail hand on where they're going with the ball, who's their favorite target, how disciplined are they in their uh, reads, 1, 2, 3, check down, or is it see it and throw it? The personality of the quarterback is a major part of game planning on the defensive side of the ball. And so though the Jets should and I expect they will get this done, they do have their hands full because I expect Bill Belichick to play both quarterbacks, period. He not hearing none of that stuff the media talking about. He gonna play both quarterbacks because he know it's hard to game playing two quarterbacks. And quite frankly, Max Sauce hasn't given him a reason not to. And that's okay too. Next team. I already spoke to me liking I have a love-hate relationship with New York. The G-Man, love the G-Man. I'm not gonna really speak to them other than they should handle Seattle. Even though it's a long trip, they still should handle Seattle. But what we will talk about, oh, I think we got a caller. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. I don't know how to do that, but let's see. I guess I could tag them, right? You know, I'm still learning this stuff, guys. I really don't have all the answers. But anyway, where was I going with this? Can't remember. Yeah, let me get this out. Okay, yeah. I don't know where I was going with it other than, oh yeah, the G-Man. They should be able to take care of business, period. That should be an easy dub. Shouldn't be hard to get done. All right, Green Bay, Mr. That's why I got my Mr. Rogers sweater on. You don't know nothing about that? Hey, you don't know nothing about that, boy? Huh? You don't know nothing about this Mr. Rogers sweater? All right, so Coach, what were you saying? Is Mr. Rogers going to beat Buffalo? Hmm. No. No, he's not. They go kick him in his Mr. Rogers sweater tail. I will say this, though. I will say this. And the reason I'm bringing up Buffalo is because Buffalo is. Here's what my son put me on game on. He put me on game. He said, "Hey, Buffalo should win it. The only reason Buffalo will not win it. This is what he said. Only reason Buffalo will not win it is if they quarterback start getting start having early PSD, like PTSD, excuse me, from past moments that he didn't get it done." It's like, and so I will admit, I'm not privy on how much intake of football my son really takes in because he really is not a football junkie. And when he said that, I'm like, and I'm thinking, did he just hear Stephen A or somebody say it on his phone, ESPN? But he's right. He's right. That's the only way. That's the only way Buffalo does not capitalize on their lead. That's the only way. I'm just telling you that right now. Outside of that, Buffalo should be able to get it done. No harm, no foul. Like, meaning no harm to the quarterback and no fouls that will keep them from getting it done. The only time, here's what I found in my short time or 20 years of football. More penalty, get more penalties as a ball club when you're not prepared, right? Whether that's schematically, whether that's you being in shape, whether that's you're in over your head and you had to play because the starter wasn't in and you're just not ready. That's the result of penalties and fatigue, of course. So when I say no harm, no foul, no one, if being no one gets hurt, it's not the traditional no harm, no foul, is why I'm saying that. When I'm speaking to no harm, no foul in the space of matchups, long as no one gets hurt and no one does anything stupid penalty wise, Buffalo should take this down. All right, so now, like I said, look, I'll be on IG live at 9 o'clock today. This will be my first time going live on IG with Conquer You by Cam Countryman. By all means, check him out. And we'll talk about how I coach up student athletes, students, workshops, and how we teach athletes and students and coaches and teachers to move, and how his company and his gym teaches athletes and their consumers or patrons how to conquer you. And so I'm excited to get what you can. Uh, for those who follow, by all means, tap in, check us out. Um, and ahead of time, Cam, $5 to the curse jar. So for every time you curse, it's a $5. For every time I curse, $5 to the back to school shoe and book bag giveaway for next year. Okay, because Cam a receiver, and he a throwback receiver. Cam was a receiver who not gonna let you hear the end of it. If he catch a 4-yard pass, he about to let you know I'm 4 yards up in you. Now, because I have been refined, you see my nice sweater. I don't use football language like that anymore often. Anyway, again, my name is Coach Malik Hall. This is the NFL Catch Up with Coach Edition, Week 8. And check us out on all platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and IG. Until then, I hope that I see you and you see me. Peace.